All right, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe for a video on cryptocurrency every day. My name's Austin, and as of a few days ago, live via Twitter, one of the Ethereum core developers rage quit the Ethereum project. We have a lot to talk about today with Ethereum, so I'm going to take things a little slower. Feel free to crank the speed of today's video up to 1.25 or 1.5. And that being said, the value that Ethereum brings to the table, it comes from a whole lot more than just one developer. So to get the true perspective on the state of Ethereum today, make sure you watch the full video. Let's jump in. Parity developer quits Ethereum project. Afri Shodan, release manager at blockchain infrastructure firm Parity Technologies, has quit all Ethereum projects after a controversial tweet that sparked outrage on social media. In his tweet, which has since been deleted, Shodan reportedly criticized Serenity, also known as Ethereum 2.0, because Serenity is a final upgrade for the Ethereum network that brings its mainnet over to proof-of-stake consensus algorithm. In his tweet, which is deleted, he said that Polkadot delivers what Serenity ought to be. So he's throwing shade at Serenity, a project that he's been working on, and he's saying that Polkadot is better. What is Polkadot? Well, Afri Shodan, he has multiple jobs. He's a core developer on Ethereum, and he's also a manager at the firm Parity Technologies. And what Polkadot is Parity's upcoming protocol aimed at linking different blockchains. And that's why this tweet left a lot of community members angry, because he's saying that Polkadot delivers what Serenity ought to be, saying, why were you wasting the community's time, presumably wasting the community's time, developing Serenity when you were working on a different project that you say is better? So it forced Afri Shodan to send a follow-up tweet. He said, Polkadot is not a direct competitor to Ethereum, and chains like Ethereum are always an integral part of the Polkadot vision. He says they're not competitors, the two projects. Serenity, he goes on to say, Serenity, which is, in my eyes, rolled out too slowly, and I fear that it won't matter anymore once we get there. People didn't get that. What do you think? To me, it's very clear. I understand why the community would be angry. It's very clear to me that there is a conflict of interest, because you say that, hey, I was not working on Polkadot directly, but you were a manager at the firm that is developing Polkadot. And to be fair, I totally understand if a developer wants to quit or leave a project, I get it. I understand it. I understand that happens. But when you aggressively quit, rage quit publicly on Twitter, it makes me think that how much of a benefit were you really to Serenity in the last couple months anyway? Because if you really felt that way, were you taking a place of a developer that could have maybe helped roll out Serenity faster? I don't know. But following the controversial tweet, the community responded, and users immediately accused the developer of betrayal, along with sabotaging Ethereum from within and having conflicts of interest. Shodan subsequently clarified that the discussions forced him to quit Ethereum. This was one of his final tweets on this topic. I did not quit social media. I quit Ethereum. I did not go dark. I just left the community. I am no longer coordinating hard forks, building test nets, or contributing otherwise. I did not work on Polkadot. I never did. I worked on Ethereum. I did not hate Ethereum. I loved it. So he says he did not work on Polkadot, but he is a manager at the firm that did. Let me know what you think. One of the updates is coming up February 27th. The Constantinople hard fork is coming up on February 27th, very soon. And I want to talk about what this is doing, what the community members are predicting this does to the price, and the future of Ethereum as a whole. To me, what this basically says that the stress that the developers are feeling, forcing to try and upgrade a project that's having a hard time being upgraded, I think that stress, it's very clear that stress is very palpable. My question to you is, how much trouble is Ethereum actually in? And also another question, how much does one developer matter for Ethereum as a whole? How much does one developer matter for Ethereum as a whole? I have a chart if this wants to load. Here we go. I have a chart on developer for adoption all the way from 2015 to 2018. And what do you see? Even up into the final months of last year, developers were increasing on the Ethereum platform. And this chart isn't as accurate maybe to the topic at hand, because this also pulls in developers that are just working on dApps on the Ethereum platform. I get that. Notice how it is leveling off now that we have Generation 3 cryptocurrencies that do the same thing, only faster. EOS, Tron, Cardano, a lot of them. So the developer community is leveling off on Ethereum. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is one developer does not equal the value of a project. It just shows the stress. What I was surprised to see is that Andreas Antonopoulos warns against Ethereum infighting. That's how clear to the crypto community this is in terms of the turmoil inside Ethereum, that Andreas Antonopoulos is talking about it. He offered advice to developers building Ethereum, which is the world's second largest blockchain, this weekend, arguing that they should be careful to avoid fragmenting their technical community through infighting. In an interview he did with CoinDesk, a word of caution to the Ethereum community said this. And make sure you're sticking around to the end of this video, because I want to go over the price of Ethereum. I want to talk to you about long, short positions and what other people are feeling. And I just want to address what I'm doing with the Ethereum that I hold. But what does Andreas Antonopoulos say? He says, be careful of fragmentation. When things get difficult, people become more insular in their thinking and they start magnifying differences instead of focusing on commonalities. I agree. Antonopoulos' remark went on to acknowledge the effects of the market decline, because in this bear market, Ethereum is one of the top cryptocurrencies that has been affected the most. Speaking to CoinDesk, Antonopoulos argued that he expects depressed market conditions to add pressure to existing online debates. So the more bearish, even though in the last week we've seen some bullish behavior, the more bearish this market goes, he predicts the more stress and infighting that will occur in projects like this that are trying to develop. The really most extreme maximalism we've seen comes at the absolute peak of the bear market, or the trough of the bear market, when people are feeling afraid and threatened. A lot of you guys in the comments have been getting on me for saying the channel is called Altcoin Daily. Why are so many of our videos that we put out every day, why are so many focusing on Bitcoin? And I just want to say, I still hold my altcoins, I still invest, but in the most bearish times in the market, I think that that's the time to consolidate. In the most bearish times, that's the time to focus on more of these high cap blue chip coins. And then when we're starting to see clear signs of bullish behavior, that's the time to spread out into these altcoins. So in my opinion, you're misinformed. You're taking a huge risk if you're not focusing more on Bitcoin and those higher cap coins in this bear market. Antonopoulos went on to call on others within the Ethereum community to stand up in future instances which those propelling the project forward are subjected to undue abuse. So he says next time that we see big, stressful debates like this going on, infighting, he says other community members should stand up and say something and propel the common good rather than fragmenting into different projects. That's his opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. To argue the other side, short-term wise, Ethereum's never been doing better. It went from $104 all the way to $150 in just a few weeks. A lot of people attribute Ethereum's recent gains in the last few weeks to why the market, one of the reasons that the market went up. And some bullish news for Ethereum. Ethereum's long positions skyrocket as Constantinople nears, but analysts do expect post-fork plummets. Alex Kugler, an economist who focuses primarily on cryptocurrencies, recently spoke about Ethereum's current price action, noting that a disturbing trend is unfolding with its long to short ratio, which is currently at the highest level since just prior to ETH's November crash. So some bullish news is that if you look on this chart right here, you see that short-term wise, let's check this out. You see short-term wise, more people are betting that the price of Ethereum will go up more than ever. And we can see that right here. Let me just refresh the page where Ethereum is today. You see that, well, okay, cool. We're having a little bit of a pump. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out over the weekend. But Ethereum's up 5%, Bitcoin's only up 3%. So people are expecting big things. We've already gone from 104 to 156. In my opinion, I can really see for the next 2 weeks, Ethereum going even higher. I do agree with this analyst saying that there will be, I think it's going to be a case of buy the rumor, sell the news. And this is what I'm doing. You ask me what I'm doing with my Ethereum. I'm not selling. I still have bags of Ethereum. But what I'm thinking about doing is if this price gets even higher and really increases in value off of a Satoshi, off of the price of Bitcoin, there's nothing wrong with consolidation. In bear markets, that's the time to do it. And transferring a little bit of Ethereum into Bitcoin, there's nothing wrong with consolidation, especially when you're seeing infighting like this. Now, I don't want to spread FUD. I do see great big things for Ethereum. Even in the next 3 years, Ethereum sinks all the way down to 20th place. Say it gets out of the top 10. I think where the market cap's going to be. And just based on the fact that they are still developing, one bad egg in the developer team does not dictate the value of a project. I see big things for Ethereum. There's nothing wrong with consolidation, just like that. But let me know what you think. That's the video today, team. Appreciate you tuning in. And we drop a video every single day. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give the video a like if you've gotten any value. That being said, I just want to check out Twitter for a second. I want to see what the community is saying about Ethereum. Sometimes I like to check it out. I think Twitter is one of the first places people to go to get current news. Let's check this out. Let's see. All right, maybe that was too broad. What do you do in this case? Let's shorten it to Constantinople. And again, video is mainly over. Feel free to tune out if you don't want this casual look. Constantinople, right? Here we go. Hard fork, what to expect, beginner's guide. You know what? This could take all day. That's why we condense this information down to daily videos. I'll let you guys go. Have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to us on Twitter. There's a link in the description below. As this market goes up, I'm going to keep you updated.